Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. Happy healing with Luke. Hope you're okay. Excuse the little Mohican going on, it's a bit windy here. So I'm doing another video in Box Hill. Don't know if you can see them, there's two magpies there. Always salute the one because we don't want no sorrow. There's a bit of joy there, so that'll do. So yeah, Box Hill, in Surrey Hills, lovely. Today I want to talk about repeat offending in relationships, how you let people continue to do what you allow them to do, you know. So on that point, people only do what you allow them to do, you know. So if you're constantly getting heartbroken, not just in romantic relationships, any relationships, you know, if you've had a run of bad luck, misfortune, or all your relationships seem to go the same way, your friendships, your romantic relationships, you know, sooner or later it's gonna have to hit home. So it's a harsh reality at the end of the day. I've had a harsh reality, just going through the same things. Everything seems to go the same way. The feelings are always the same on the after effects. The behaviours of the after effects are always the same. Bit of isolation, you feel abandoned, the anxiety attachment kicks in off the scale sometimes. You become antisocial, you don't want to go out anywhere, you don't want to mix, you know. So, and it affects those around you, you know. But sooner or later, unfortunately, the penny's got to drop. So a bit of hard love on this video today. So sooner or later you're gonna have to accept that you're gonna have to take responsibility at the end of the day, because you're the ever present, you know. It's harsh, but it does need to be said. Sorry, it's just hitting home a little bit. Yeah, you're gonna have to just take accountability for what you allow people to do. You probably never set any boundaries, healthy ones. Probably didn't even know how to set a boundary, or perhaps you did but you gave in, you know. But now's the time to look at yourself and just go over your past relationships, because you're in the same position yet again, and you're not healing. You haven't. Each repeat opens up a new wound, but it keeps open your old wounds. And the idea is, after each event, is to heal those wounds. But if you keep repeating, then you're not taking a lesson. You know, the man up there is just going to keep putting you in the same positions just to see, are you going to get it this time? You know, and you can't keep doing that, because it's not only affecting you, it affects a lot of people. And in the end, we may have lost one or two relationships out of that, friendships, you know, loved ones. They're not going to keep supporting. You know, I've been told, like, sooner or later you're going to have to pay attention. If it's romantic relationships and there's a bit of drama involved, are you a drama chaser? Do you like the drama? You know, which a lot of people say they don't. But if you're not taking the lessons and you keep putting yourself in that position, sooner or later someone around you is going to question that, you know. So it's time to take responsibility for the part you play, because it does take two, believe it or not. We can sit here till the cows come home and blame the other person, but again, people only do what you allow them to do. It's just the way the world works. It does take two. So the biggest relationship you have, I've said it in a video previously, the biggest relationship you have is with yourself. It's the longest relationship. And if you're not getting what you want out of a relationship, again, be it friendship, be it romantic relationships, if you're not getting out of them what you want, and they end up the same way each and every time, then it's time to give that to yourself. Give yourself what you want people to give you, because once you get into that practice and you start believing into it, you buy into it, you're doing the self-work, you've got the correct therapy, you know, and you start to feel it, you start to believe it, you can feel the healing process, every stage of it. And when you come out the other end, you know how to set your boundaries, because the man upstairs is during your healing, he's going to send you someone. He's going to give you a little test, and that person might not be a person that'll be an ever present. It might be one for the season, you know, so be aware of that. But you get your little test just to see how much on board you've taken and how far developed you are in your healing, you know, and you need that. You need to set your boundaries. You need to practice your boundaries. Most importantly, I'm starting to slowly put some boundaries in place. It's different. It really is different, but it needs to be done. Has to be done. I never knew how to set boundaries. I didn't. Maybe I did set them, and you know, the tolerance level I've got is ridiculously stretched. And then when someone meets it, you've got to be a special person to meet that. Oh God, it's so stretched, and someone gets there, it's like, why have you done that? You know, it takes an awful lot for someone to get to me. But people do. And then you tell people you don't like their behaviour. You tell people not to do a certain thing, you're not happy with it, you don't like it. But at the same time, are you delivering it properly? You know, so setting healthy boundaries is key to moving forward in new relationships. You know, so, and you need to practice them. So you need someone's got to come along for you to practice them on, you know, and they're not going to be your person, but at least once you've tested, you feel good. It does feel good. It feels horrible at first, but you see the process, you see why you're setting them, and it is different. For me, it was different. I had to do that a couple of weeks ago, and I tested it. I felt horrible doing it, but afterwards, it's like, yeah, I set a boundary, and it went well. You know, you're putting the onus on the other person. You know, I wasn't rude, wasn't abrupt, wasn't bolshy. It was just calm, polite. Deep down inside, I was fuming. But in a professional environment, you've got to conduct yourself in the correct manner, which is testing. But I did it all the same, and I made sure I wasn't pointing any blame. It was always, I'm not happy with that behaviour around me. I'd like it if you gave it a bit more thought when you are around me, not to do such things. Now, it all sounds cheesy when you speak it out loud, but obviously, word for word, it was a couple of weeks ago, so I'm not going to remember every word. But to that effect, you know, I don't like that behaviour. Would you mind being a bit more mindful around me? You know, and it worked. The person didn't realise they was doing it. You know, he turned around and said, "Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't think what I was doing was any harm, was doing any wrong." I said, "Well, I just don't like it around me, to be honest with you. It's not so much, maybe outside the environment it might be okay, but in the environment we're in, you need to be a bit more careful, because it's not just me. Someone walks past and listens to it, they're not going to be happy." And, you know, I wasn't happy with it, so it went the right way. So I was like, yeah, I've done a little boundary there, that's good. So moving forward, boundaries are key. I'm going to continue doing boundaries, but I'm done with the repeat offending. Absolutely done with it, because why am I holding on to past traumas? I'm 47. I'm 48 in August. You know, my childhood traumas. I can't now do anything about them, and I've harbored them for too long. They've been lodging inside me, and they're not even paying rent. You know, they need to be charged, or they're getting evicted. I want them gone, to be fair. So don't even care about the removals. Just go. You know, I don't want them no more. So going through what I did earlier on in the year, that's the most recent event. I don't want to look after that one with everything else as well. So a new trauma happens. It's got to have a room to lodge in you. You know, how many rooms have you got? You know. So yeah, I'm making space. I'm clearing the decks. You know, I'm gutting it. I'm gutting the house. Too many rooms. You know. And I just don't need to be holding on to them anymore, and taking accountability, being responsible, giving my bit of self-love and working on myself. I feel good about it. You know, once you do it and you can feel it, it does something for you in your healing journey. It does wonders. You do start to feel it. You can feel your self-growth, and your mindset just changes. When you let go of one, and you realise you can feel yourself letting go. If you've got a couple, they just become easier to let go of. Obviously, your most recent trauma it needs room to manifest this. You're going to have to manifest it. You're going to have to go through the processes. You're going to have to allow the process. And that's what it does to your mindset. Letting go of past traumas, and you've got a new trauma. It allows you to just accept it for what it is and go through the process, because everything needs processing. But if you're repeat offending, you're not processing, you're just boxing it all up in one room. You know, and there's so much out here. There's so much to do. You've got so much more in life that needs that bit of room in your mind. You know, it's not all about negativity or traumas or bad luck or mental disorders. It's not, because there's so much more to life that you've got going on. If you've got a job, you need room in your head for your job. If you've got regular contact with family and loved ones, they need a bit of room in your head. You know, if you've got children, they need most of the room. You know, you've got a partner, they need room. You know, you can't store all this stuff in your mind and expect everything to be hunky-dory and go about your day-to-day, because you're not releasing it. You're not getting rid of it. So, you know, for the repeat offenders out there, it's time to take stock and be realistic, be honest with yourself. You don't like it, you don't want to keep doing it, you don't know why you keep doing it, you question it all the time. You've got a go-to. You're constantly telling your go-to, you know, it's happened again, and you know your go-to, they'll always be there. But how nice would it be to go to your go-to and say, I'm actually all right today, feel amazing, and have a long stretch of, no, I'm all right, I'm healthy, you fancy doing something, rather than, can I borrow your ears? You know, I need to chew your ears off again, and yes, it's happened again. And you know, us repeat offenders, we've been there, you know what I'm talking about. So, you know, have a bit of happiness in your life. Just create it. Take accountability for the part you played, because you did play a big part. You ignored that gut feeling. You know, it all hits us, that gut feeling. Some are strong enough to question it, and some of us have got a mindset of oh, they're having a bad day or something, you know, just I'll let it slide. You know, they might be going through something, or you know they are going through something, so oh, maybe it's because of that, you know. But then usually it comes back at a later date, not too long. You know, everyone's got traits that we don't like. You know, even couples who's been married for 40 years, they've got traits that they don't like, but what do? They sit down at the table or go out for a meal and just not focus the whole evening or afternoon or lunch or anything on it, but they talk about it and it's dealt with nicely. It's mature, it's grown up, and it's how it should be. You know, two mature adults who know how to converse with each other rather than turning it into an argument because one can't accept accountability, so they can't apologise, and after time that's what causes arguments, because the other person can't apologise. But you know, and your triggers, you've got to be able to, with your friends and your partner, you've got to feel safe to talk about trigger points, you know, especially in a relationship with like a romantic one, your partner. You know, a couple of years down the line, that's your bestie, that's the one you turn to, that's your life. You know, they should be there for each other, you should be understanding. But as you know, repeat offenders, they don't know how to express in the correct way. You know, you've put a lot of effort into the other person, it might not be reciprocated. They do things that make you unsure about it, you let it slide, then you start pulling away because you're noticing more behaviours that you're unhappy with, but you're creating behaviours that you're not happy with because that person will see you pull away. They start questioning themselves in the relationship, and if they've got trigger points as well, you're triggering them because they've triggered you. You know the cycle. So it's time for accountability, and accept it, do the work, just no longer repeating, guys. So on that note, I will see you soon. Please like, subscribe, share, comment, the usual. Love you all. Happy healing.